Hey everybody, it's Edmunds editor Mark Takahashi, and we're at the 2017 Chicago Auto Show, and I'm joined by one of our newest additions to our staff, Calvin Kim. And historically, I guess, the Chicago Auto Show's kind of been truck-centric. We're seeing a lot of new stuff being rolled out. In particular, we have the new Nissan Titan King Cab, which is like their middle cab thing. And yeah, it kind of makes sense. It finally fills out that portfolio between the single cab and the crew cab. But the coolest thing about it, especially this one behind us, is the rear seat delete option. So no seat, it's floor-to-ceiling cargo space that's secure and out of the elements. So like mountain bikes and stuff, perfect place to store that stuff.
Nissan's always been pretty good about segmenting their trucks for work and for play. Mm-hmm. Where does this particular truck fit in?
Right in the middle. Because, I mean, the King Cab seats aren't all that big in the back. They're good for in a pinch, but if you really need secure cargo, that's the way to go. Because it also has this rear wall that has tie-down cleats and kind of a cargo system. So really smart, I think. Outside of that, like, what did you cover this morning?
I had a couple of cars on my watch, namely the Durango SRT from Dodge and the new 2018 Hyundai Elantra GT and Elantra GT Sport. And I agree with you, there are a lot of trucks here, but I don't think the sedan's dead just yet.
Okay.
I just think it's a new paradigm in just the numbers of cars that
you
go
said
through
paradigm.
lots. Yeah, paradigm.
Wow.
You know, the perfect example is it's a car that didn't really get an official relaunch, but it's definitely but it's definitely something to look out for, and that's the new Subaru Legacy.
Okay.
It's a car that, you know, they could have kept going with it, I think, but they listened to buyer feedback, driver feedback, and they've actually recalibrated the whole kit and caboodle. I guess people were complaining about a little bit too much tippiness of the throttle, a little bit too sensitive.
Okay.
So they softened that up. They've also redesigned the clock and the center console, so it's a little bit more user-friendly. And the car's got standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is all the rage these days.
Yeah. But I got to get back to that Durango SRT, because that thing looks rad. I mean, it looks like a Charger Hellcat up front.
Exactly.
How much power does it have?
475 horsepower, all-wheel drive. The cool thing about it is when you think of kind of, at least from a testing perspective, you think of very mechanical, but this car is actually very fluid, and there's a lot of electronic controls, so the car is very flexible. So when you want to, you know, drive a little bit harder, you can, but for the most part, most buyers will just commute and take their kids to school and work,
okay,
go to work, and the car's designed to be able to do that really well. It's wider, they put bigger flares, 295 with tires all around, Brembo brakes, that naturally aspirated V8 with big 4-inch exhaust, two 4-inch exhaust tips. So
yeah, it'll sound good too.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna, I don't know, depending on your neighborhood, your neighbors might not like you too much on an early Saturday morning.
But it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of a throwback to the, what was it, the Ford Lightning?
Yeah.
So a higher performance truck for people who don't really have the need to do a lot of utility and like off-roady type of stuff.
Exactly.
But it's just kind of a cool truck cruiser.
Exactly. I feel like they had the powertrain and the chassis, and it was a natural fit. You mentioned the way the car looks, and something that I just remembered right now is that the hood is actually inspired by the Viper. And unlike some other manufacturers, the vents are functional.
Right. Heat extractors.
Exactly.
Because that thing's probably going to generate quite a bit of it.
A lot, yeah.
So yeah, I actually checked out the Ford Expedition, which is all new this year, based on the F-150, and has the aluminum body. So it's lighter, it's this, it's that. It's going to be, you know, better performance, better fuel economy. And I think it's a beast. I mean, it is really big, like the long wheelbase especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to compete against the, you know, Suburban. It's going to compete against the Escalade, which is related to the Suburban. But yeah, I mean, really good showing from them. It looks pretty sharp too.
But powertrains are going to be off the F-150 also?
Probably. I mean, I guess they're only starting with the 3.5 liter V6
the twin
EcoBoost.
Yep.
Right. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the new diesel hit that, and even the V8s. I mean, a V8 in that car really makes sense because it is big. It is heavy.
Now, just like the F-150, is this thing also all aluminum?
The body is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but still, you know, steel frame.
Steel frame, steel frame. Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to have some decent off-road ability, unlike a lot of the bigger SUVs out there.
Yeah.
You know, like I guess the Suburban properly equipped can as well.
Exactly. I was noticing though that I mean, even with all the trucks and with sedans too, one small little car that I don't think a lot of people are going to give it a ton of look at, but as a car enthusiast, I definitely have my eye towards is the Hyundai Elantra GT, particularly the sport variant. It's a little 5-door hatchback from born and bred in Europe, as they say. The engineers took it to the Nürburgring, which is a really ridiculously difficult track in Germany.
Right.
That's where they did their calibrations on it. It's got a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine. It's an engine that we're all very familiar with in some of our long-term cars and other Hyundai Kia products. But the thing that stands out for me is it's very functional. It's over 50 cubic feet of interior volume.
Oh, okay.
And I can sit in the back seat very comfortably with the front seat set the way I like it. So from a small car, that's very rare. But I think the icing on the cake is that it's come standard with the 6-speed manual transmission. So for the guys that are saying that the manual transmission is dead, fear not. Surprisingly, Hyundai is saving the day.
Now, I mean, I do like the way the car looks, and there's a lot to like about the car, that hatchback in general. Where do you think it stacks up against some of the better hatchbacks, though, like the Mazda 3 or the Ford Focus?
Certainly, that's going to be its competition. The Hyundai benefits, I think it has a little bit better electronics suite. Now, granted, this is the first time we've seen the car. We haven't played with it.
Okay.
But their design, it just seems a lot more familiar to me.
Okay.
I know that it'll work with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and there's an Alexa skill for the car. With a certain package, you'll be able to actually turn on the heat, the rear defroster, and the side mirror defrosters from inside the house, which is pretty high tech.
Yeah, if you're in that kind of climate, absolutely.
Exactly, and it will have all the driver assist stuff that's on cars that are much more expensive than it.
Right, but I mean, hatchbacks do face an uphill battle against the compact crossover SUVs like the RAV4 they just showed here, which they're calling the RAV4 Adventure trim. It's Adventure is a light word, I think. It's got an elevated ride height. It's got some kind of exterior treatments here and there, all-weather floor mats. So it's a soft roader, not an off-roader. So unimproved trails, that type of thing. You're not going to be rock crawling. You're not going to, you're not going to be doing some real challenging off-roady stuff.
Probably a little too small for the real hardcore overlanding crowd too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean it's a it's a unibody. It's not going to hold up like a body on frame would.
On a completely 180-degree opposite from that, I finally got to see the LC500.
Oh yeah.
That thing looks awesome.
It does look good.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw the initial photos, especially with the very controversial spindle grille, the Lexus's design language for the front end of the car. I think I kind of reserve judgment, but when you see it in person, it definitely looks a lot better.
Yeah, that thing is long and sleek. It looks cool. I hope it drives as well as it looks.
Agreed.
Because I've been a little disappointed with the way Lexus have been driving lately. And does it have that controller, the infotainment controller, that not tracepad, but the remote
little
touch?
I didn't get a good chance to look at it. There were camera people around the car as warranted. But I did get to peek around the Ford GT. That thing's ridiculous. The NSX is here as well. So surprisingly, a lot of sports cars also.
Yeah. There's a little bit of fluff around the show too. Like Toyota also showed, I guess, their TRD Sport line for the Tundra and the Sequoia. And really, it's more of a cosmetic upgrade.
Got it.
It's got Bilstein shocks. It's got new sway bars, but overall, they're already pretty capable. These just kind of dress them up to, I guess, meet that capability.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a pretty chill show as far as auto shows go. This one, they have way fewer introductions and unveils than other shows. So this is kind of like the nice one where we can kind of breathe a little and still get our work done.
I feel like this is a little bit more of a practical show. You can get a little bit closer to the cars.
Yeah.
There's a lot more driving indoors than I have seen before. Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, Fiat, and Mercedes all have driving stations where you can sign up to drive the cars on very small, tight completely unrepresentative of the real world
Right.
facilities. But it's cool that they're at least doing that. And
Yeah.
a little bit more hands-on. I even noticed the Mustang was on a dyno. With
That's what all that
exhaust
noise
extraction.
was.
Yep, they're showing pools. So unlike the other auto shows where there's the velvet rope, and
Right.
you're one side and the car's another, I feel like this is much more hands-on.
Yeah, right on. Well, that's it from the Chicago Auto Show. We hope you liked what you heard. Check out the show in person if you're in the area. And let us know what you think of this. Leave us some comments, hit subscribe, and hopefully you'll see us again at another auto show. Thanks a lot.